see she's there watching for me. If I could fly like birds on high, then straight to her arms I go sailing. It's far beyond the stars, it's near beyond the moon. I know beyond a doubt my heart will lead me there soon.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome. I'm Veronica Thompson. I'm the Dean of the Faculty of Humanities and Social Sciences, and I'm honored to be here with all of you this evening to celebrate an inspiring AU student, Fiona Smith. Welcome to Fiona, who is joining us virtually tonight. For those of you who don't know, For those of you who don't know, Fiona battles a rare cellular disease which causes anaphylactic reactions from exposures to various environmental elements called systemic mastocytosis. So we are really delighted that Fiona is able to join us here online. Before we begin this evening, I would like to express gratitude and acknowledge that we are in Treaty 1 territory and that the land on which we gather is the traditional territory of Anishinaabe, Cree, Oji-Cree, Dakota, and Dene peoples, and the homeland of the Métis Nation. I'd also like to extend a warm welcome to Fiona's family and friends who are here with us tonight, who are online and at her home with her tonight to celebrate with her. We know that you are as proud of Fiona and all that she has accomplished as we are here at AU. I would like to introduce and welcome Jason Tate, who is an Anishinaabe hip-hop artist and ceremonial leader from Swan Lake Reserve and is Fiona's youngest brother. He has been a community leader for the past 5 years, working with Winnipeg's at-risk youth with addictions. And he currently works for Siloam Mission, where he cares for and empowers Winnipeg's homeless. So Jason, if you can join us. Please accept this gift of tobacco and our sincerest thanks for starting us off this evening.
All right, thank you. It's great to be up here. So I just want to say a little stuff about what Fiona really means to me, and she means the world to me. You know, without her family and me coming and meeting and just our paths crossing, like I wouldn't be this person that I am today. That the stuff that was said about me, I wouldn't be this person, and at all with that. You know, without that growth and that empowerment that she gave me. I remember when I was younger, and she was just so full of life and such an inspiration to me as a person, and it was just like just beautiful, you know. And it's great to be here, and so I just think it's only fair to sing like an honor song and open the award ceremony. So.
Thank you very much, Jason. As Canada's open and online university, AU has been focused on removing barriers to education for its entire existence. And tonight we will hear about Fiona's determination to overcome her own barriers, and we'll hear about her commitment to education and learning. But you're not going to hear it from me. We're going to bring someone else up who's going to introduce and speak to us about Fiona. Carolyn Evans has known Fiona for 26 years and has witnessed Fiona's commitment to others firsthand. Carolyn and Fiona met when they were both involved in the Black Hole Theatre at the University of Manitoba, and Carolyn is now a high school drama teacher. Carolyn, I saw you earlier. I don't know where you are right now. There you are. Can you come up and tell us more about Fiona, please?
Good evening, everyone. Hi, Fiona. I joked with Fiona this weekend that I've known her for a long time, and if I'd known about this and speaking tonight, I had to give a speech, I would have been like, okay. But it's funny, I talk in front of teenagers all day long, but this is what makes me nervous. Okay, but in all sincerity, we're here to celebrate and honor Fiona tonight. As mentioned, I've known Fiona for over a quarter of a century, and I just want to mention how I first kind of really met Fiona. Actually, I heard Fiona before I was formally introduced to her. You know what I'm talking about, right? So, yeah. So I was a dresser at Black Hole Theatre in a show, my first year there, and the theatre is down the hall from the green room, and we had a monitor set up in the green room, and sound was piped in from the stage. And that night, there was laughter from the audience, and someone said, "Oh, Fiona's in the audience tonight," because there was this laughter and this really loud snort. And I was like, perfect timing, honey. That was my introduction to Fiona. I was like, who is this Fiona? But if you've met her, right, she knows she has like the best snort when she laughs, and it's infectious. And she loves to laugh. I talk of laughter because, as we all know, Fiona's endured a great deal of hardships and challenges in her life. And yet she consistently manages to find a way to bring laughter and joy into her life and the lives of people she touches, like the people in this room. It speaks to her strength. Fiona and I became fast friends in university. We'd come from different backgrounds, but bonded over our Britishness. I'm a first-generation Canadian. You will, if you haven't heard her talk, you will know that she is British. And over our love of theatre. Back when we first met, she told me of painful experiences that she'd lived through as a child and some of her subsequent struggles in life. It was a vastly different reality from my own. I hadn't, however, known of some of the other challenges that she'd faced in terms of her learning, especially being diagnosed with dyslexia and dyscalculia. I can't even pronounce it, honey. The dyslexia of numbers. Although she struggled in learning, she never let that stop her from fiercely pursuing an education. I'm a teacher, and I know how learning difficulties can frustrate a student to the point that they just want to give up. But that's never been Fiona. Don't try and tell Fiona what she can't do, because she will be even more determined to prove you wrong. So some of the things that she has done. She was the first person in her family to get a university degree. She moved across the world by herself to teach English for almost 3 years, returned to Canada, started building and raising a family, moved into an old farmhouse in rural Ontario, taking on chickens, pigs, goats, horses. I was like, what are you? Okay, just to prove that she could. She joined the Parry Sound volunteer firefighters. I don't know if you've ever seen pictures of Fiona in that gear. She's not a very big person, And she's like swamped. I don't know how she managed to carry all that gear around, or like what motivated her to do that. But she did all of those things before she was even 40. And there's a lot I'm not covering. All the while, she continued to focus on learning new skills, gaining new knowledge, creating art, raising a family, and more. But then, while living in that farmhouse, Fiona was stung by a wasp. And that sting triggered a series of events I don't think anyone, most especially Fiona, could fathom. It took a while to get a definitive diagnosis. Thoughts of MS or Parkinson's, like all these different things were put out there, but eventually Fiona got answers. She was diagnosed with systemic mastocytosis, idiopathic anaphylaxis, Addison's disease, and POTS. Her body is pretty much consistently and constantly at war with both itself and the outside world. To date, she has received over 500 EpiPen injections. I told people I wasn't going to get emotional. Told you I'm not going to get emotional. Thanks. Not going to cry. It's a happy moment, happy occasion. This is awesome. But it takes its toll on Fiona and on her family. I know personally I would find it overwhelming to live with her illnesses. I've seen it up close and it is scary, but that's her reality. But if you know Fiona, you know one thing. She is a fighter and she is stubborn as hell. She has a lot to live for. Her family, for one. And there are so many of her people in her family here tonight. And all the people in this room who love and cherish and support her. But Fiona also needs to have purpose because she knows how much she has to offer, right? Yeah. So I've mentioned some of the things she accomplished before that life-changing wasp sting, but here are some of her accomplishments since then. She's the co-founder of Mastocytosis of Canada, provides information and support to people affected by the illness, as well as their families, friends, and even their doctors. She is a volunteer disability advocate for people like her trying to go through the complex applications and or appeals process relating to CPP, tax credits, EIA, workers' comp, and so forth. To date, she has a 100% success rate on those she helps. She is an online and in-person volunteer EAL tutor for post-secondary students, and she's also a volunteer EAL tutor and Canadian Culture Settlement Counselor for newcomers, immigrants, and refugees through the online LINK program. This is all volunteer work that she does between her education and dealing with her family, her illness, and all those other wonderful things that she does. She is the recipient of the 2017 Wayne Perry Master of Education and Distance Education Research Award. She's the third place winner of the Athabasca Journal of Integrated Studies Ekphrastic Poetry Contest 2017. You probably need to talk to her about what ekphrastic poetry is. It's beautiful. She can explain it way better than I can. She is the co-author of a peer-reviewed journal article in the International Women's Online Journal of Distance Education, and so much more. She's a painter, a writer, a parent, a wife. Not bad for someone who can rarely leave her home. Last but not least, see, I'm getting emotional again. Beyond all this, Fiona is my friend. We've grown up together into the people we are today. Fiona had plans to become a teacher, but at the time illnesses got in her way. Only temporarily, though. Fiona, as Fiona does, found a program online through Athabasca University that has allowed her the flexibility and support she's needed to pursue her academic goals. And despite having to work through pain and sickness and fatigue and setbacks, she has now almost finished her Master's of Education in Distance Education degree. And she is this year's recipient of their Future Alumni Award. She has said to me that my family's belief in education has been an inspiring and motivating factor for her. And yet I would not be a teacher today if Fiona hadn't planted that seed of possibility in my mind. I am honored to be here today to celebrate my friend receiving this award and to share with others in celebrating her enduring strength and her determination. And I don't know about you, but I can't wait to see what she tackles next. So that's Fiona. Thank you very much. And I don't know if this is an appropriate time for a toast, but I would raise a glass to her. Do you, Fiona? Love you, girl.
Thank you so much, Carolyn. Fiona is receiving an Athabasca University Alumni Award tonight, which the university gives out in celebration of the successes of AU alumni and students like Fiona, including their professional and community achievements. I'm not going to go through, I was going to outline some of those achievements, but Carolyn did that so beautifully that I won't repeat that. But what I will say is I had a brief chat with Fiona's mom just before the event, and she said, Fiona is and comes from a long line of resilient women, and I think that that is clearly evidenced here tonight. So as we heard, although Fiona is mostly housebound due to the chance of environmental elements causing life-threatening anaphylactic reactions, and her inability because of her illness to accept a placement in the Bachelor of Education degree at the University of Manitoba, she came to us, she found us, and I think that her enrollment at Athabasca University, the work she's doing right now, writing her thesis for her Master of Education in Distance Education, is testament to her role and her influence as an educator, as an artist, and as a student. So tonight, we enthusiastically honor Fiona Smith with the AU Future Alumni Award, which recognizes a student who has demonstrated academic excellence and substantial contributions to her community or career while balancing the demands of student life. So on behalf of everyone at Athabasca University, I want to thank you, Fiona, for your passion and your leadership. We are proud of you, and we are proud that you chose our university as part of your journey. Now, I don't know if you can see what we have here, but we have a print that we're presenting you with tonight. This is a special print to Athabasca University. It's a signed limited edition print by Canadian artist Ted Harrison that he gifted to Athabasca University, and the print depicts the Trans-Canada Trail Relay and also the meeting of the Atlantic, Pacific, and Arctic waters in Athabasca. So we hope that you enjoy this. So Fiona, congratulations for being named Athabasca University's Future Alumni Award recipient, and I'm going to turn it over to you to talk to your friends and family and guests here.
First of all, I was pretty sure there was some sort of administrative mistake. Then once it sunk in and the details were being worked out, I was told that this moment would arrive where I was going to be doing a speech, the one I'm doing right now. And I was told I could talk about anything I wanted to, thank as many people as I wanted to, and talk for as long as I wanted to. At which point I thought, no, somebody's really made a mistake. Have you met me and my family? So, because we have, you know that we can talk your ear off for quite a long time. So by all familial standards, I will keep this short. So I have a number of people that I want to thank that are in this room right now. But before I call out people specifically, I just wanted to take a moment. If you could all look around the room in this space, look at the person sitting next to you, across the room from you, because each of you sitting in this room, or in whoever you are in this room tonight, somehow, in some capacity, you've loved, supported me, shaped me, and made a significant impact in my world. And you've helped me become who I've become, and you're helping to shape where I'm going. So thank you. I note this, it's important to me, and I carry this with me in everything I do. So specifically, President Fiona, Dean Veronica Thompson, distinguished guests, family, friends, Athabasca University, Athabasca University Alumni Association, the brilliant, fine folks at Athabasca University's Access to Students with Disabilities Office, Tara Friesen, Leslie Bergen, Chris McLeod, Curtis Wright, my brother Jason Tate, Caroline Evans, Laura Warren, the amazing folks at Freeman AV, which I think is Jessica, Chris, David, Brandon, and Daniel, my husband, Anthony Smith, my kids, Kai and Esri Smith, Sylvester Helms, Artie Sawatsky, my mom and dad, which are Val and Barry Rodich, Auntie Pam and Uncle Pete, Ingrid Meiser, June Forsley, Kim Zaglinski, Corey and Leanne Jansen, Andrea von Hert, and the staff at the Canadian Museum of Human Rights for making all of this wonderful thing happen tonight. Thank you. Oy vey, we're all here together, isn't it lovely? Technology is so great, isn't it? So education has saved me, literally. And now, specifically, distance education has saved me. And I don't say that lightly. So I'd like to explain how. Statistically, the deck has pretty much been stacked against me since the day I was born. In 2012, my childhood abuser admitted to me that the abuse he levied on me started pretty much daily the day I was born, and not at age 4 like I had remembered it. And on the adverse childhood experiences scale, I score 9 out of 10. Now, I know that I'm an overachiever, but that's not the kind of test you really want to ace. So what does a person do with that kind of trauma and pain in their lives? Well, I'm not sure about other people. What I did was I read a lot of books, and I watched a lot of films, especially old films. I threw myself into my studies, and I imagined another life for myself. And for most of my public school life and my undergraduate life, I was not an accommodated learner, and I kind of scraped by with mediocre grades. And I assumed that I wasn't working hard enough, and I needed to try harder. But I had a couple of secret weapons, and one of them is my mother. Yay, Val! Who's always believed in me. And sometimes there's been times in my life where she's been the only person who's believed in me, because I certainly haven't. And for as long as I can remember, my mom has reinforced this message that I can be anything I want to be in life if I stay in school. And I believed her. When I was about 6 years old, we were at my father's mum's house, and I overheard my grandmother talking to my mum about how they perceived my intelligence and worth. And they had some concerns about my inability to master the 8 and 9 times tables. And I overheard my grandmother telling my mum, "Don't worry, Val, Fiona's sort of pretty and she might marry well." And I'm pretty sure in this moment, I became a feminist. My mum deferentially agreed with my grandmother in this moment, but for the rest of my life, she would tell me that I could be and do anything that I wanted to, but I had to stay in school. We all have little voices inside our heads that speak to us, and I'm glad it was my mum's voice that I chose to believe. You see, while my mum's schooling had been interrupted by the death of her beloved mother and my subsequent surprise birth, my mum is one of the smartest and most giving people and women that I've ever known. I come from a family of exceptional women, actually. But my mum, she leads by example. Growing up, I witnessed her rescue animals and humans. If you needed a heart transplant in the village of Harefield where I grew up, it was my mum that picked up your heart from Heathrow Airport or wherever it needed picking up from, and she drove at top speed to make sure you got it. Her and Barbara Woodhouse, who's a famous dog trainer in England, were arch rivals because my mum's that good. Our home was a safe house for abused women and children with alcoholic and abusive spouses. And for over 20 years, my mum was a foster parent. These days, when she could be retiring, she's an independent and successful business owner. This is where I've learned my philanthropy and grit. Monkey see, monkey do, mum. It's a bit of a miracle that I got through high school. And then in the first year of university, I was confronted with actual failure and dropping out. But thanks to Professor Helen Molitor and the head of the English department, Professor Judith Flynn, I was diagnosed finally with dyscalculia and dyslexia. Then I found the community and brilliant, absolutely brilliant tutelage, studying at one of the best hands-on theatre programs in the country at the University of Manitoba's theatre program and the Black Hole Theatre Company. This was an incredibly valuable and formative time in my life. We ran full-scale theatre shows and a theatre, wearing all of the hats, where I was mentored by Chris Johnson, George Tolles, Vic Cowie, Dennis Smith, Craig Walls, Bill Smith, Larry Clark, Michael Springate, Carol Shields, Colin Jackson, and I worked with Ian Ross and other incredible talents, actually, with its entire success contingent on everything we did, doing well at the box office. We made it or we broke it. I need to specifically thank Professor Chris Johnson, Professor George Tolles, and Dennis Smith for forever changing the trajectory of my life and my self-perspective. The lessons I learned from these men. And let me tell you, I did not trust men. Well, I will carry this with me all of my days. In a scant few days, Chris will be awarded Professor, oh my God, how do I say that word?
Emeritus.
Emeritus. You are most deserving, Chris. Congratulations. You have been the good men in my life. Thank you. My colleague and fellow alumnus, Wayne Watson, says of studying at the Black Hole that it was like training with the A-team, except that we didn't have convenient montages to bring it all together, and all of our stuff had to really work at the end of the day. It generated a mindset and skills to last a lifetime. Wayne is right. Deadlines must be met. The curtain goes up, the house lights come down, and no matter what, the show must go on. These kinds of lessons served me incredibly well when a pesky wasp stung me in October 2007. Changed my normal all of a sudden. Bang, I had this rare, crazy cellular disease called systemic mastocytosis. It changed everything. It was keeping me prisoner in my home, sometimes in a hospital room. And as of yesterday, I've had 511 anaphylactic events. This is compounded by some other things as well as complex PTSD. So bam, in a heartbeat, I literally lost everything in my life, and I mean everything. But you know what? The show does have to go on. So the question was how? Enter distance education and Athabasca University. There are a few factors that affect the picture here as well. One is my amazing husband and lifelong supporter, Anthony Smith, and the other is the Evans family and our kids. So I'm going to backtrack just for a second because it's relevant. When you're first in family, to go to university and complete it, it can feel like an undergrad degree is enough because it's tough getting there, let alone completing it. Except that while I was at Blackhall in U of M, I'd met one of my best friends, Caroline Evans, who you've had the pleasure of meeting this evening. So she comes from a long line of learned folks. And in her home, I learned that her grandmother holds several degrees from Aberystwyth University, say that 3 times fast. Her dad is an accomplished physiotherapist. And I learned from him that it's never too late to go back to school. Caroline and her brother Michael and his wife Holly all hold master's degrees, and her mom holds a PhD and was head of genetics at Health Sciences for several years. And it was from Dr. Jane Evans that I learned it's important to study what you love, and that being a woman is not an excuse to not go after your dreams, and nor are our mental health challenges. We must always hold on to those dreams despite these things, and that's what accommodations are for. Her mom and dad welcomed me into their fold, and I learned from being with them that it was okay for me to expect and want more from my life. Every roast dinner, hot tub, sleepover, walk down to the pond, celebration, dinner out, movie night, glass of wine, cup of tea that we ever shared altered my perspective about what I could expect and want from my life. And it was in their home I began to dream of the life that I wanted. And it was in their kitchen over tea that I began to think that I wanted to go on with my studies. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Anthony, oh my Anthony, how can I ever thank you enough for being the light in the world that I've so desperately needed? When I felt trapped by what life had given me, not only did you not run for the hills, you pointed me in the direction of Athabasca University, and you got me to go. You made me endless cups of tea while I pored over papers and assignments. You told me to leave the dishes and the vacuuming and focus on my studies. And you continued to give me room to be the best version of myself, so I feel accomplished. And there's no finer gift that a person can give to another person than this kind of love. Thank you for teaching me to also amuse myself. For someone as OCD as me, that's difficult. My kids, oh, the kids. When your children see you get knocked down by things like this kind of illness, it's really important to get back up. It's vital to model behavior. It's vital to balance this with incredible rest, fun, self-care, but also hard work and being of service to others. Einstein said, "A life lived in service to others is a life worth living," and I would agree with that. So we live this in our home, but we also love the Marvel universe and Star Trek and ABBA. Kai is second generation U of Manitoba and is faculty of architecture and environmental design. I'd say we're doing something right. As he plans to attend University of Manitoba to study music and Bachelor of Education next year, well, university, music first. And they both volunteer at various organizations. Our children have been given free rein to choose their paths, and we couldn't be prouder. I'm now very aware, arriving at this moment right now here tonight with all of you, it's been a series of choices that involved a tremendous amount of learning, commitment to self, service to others, love and determination. I told you this was going to be a long speech. Sorry. A broken child who becomes a broken adult does not stay on the path of learning without some serious sort of guidance and support. And that guidance has been my various mothers, Val, Auntie Pam, Nanny Betts, Dr. Evans, my mom-in-law, Dory Smith, Judy Falk, and my friend Barb. I'm starting to feel more like my sister. My fathers, Barry Rodich, Uncle Pete, my father-in-law, Alvar Smith, and David Evans. And my sisters, and those I consider sisters, Andrea Von Beehart, Francesca Watt, Jennifer Kovacic, Nikki Strajak, Nick Pettigrew, Heather Von Bargen, Christine English, who, by the way, is here tonight, the pregnant lady. If she hasn't told you, she's a surrogate mom. She's so great. Carol Moriyama, Josie Evans, Dawn Pongan, Laura Gray, Ingrid Meisner, and Leslie Cottle. I love all of you. And my brothers, Jason Tate, Simon Stryjak, and Scott Pangman. Thank you, each of you. And while I can't talk about it in any detail, because there's an actual trial pending, during my studies at Athabasca University, especially during my class in experiential learning, I realized I had to report my childhood abuser in the UK. A 3-year international investigation ensued, and I have been dealing with the stresses of all this and testifying while completing my studies. I'm allowed to say this, I asked permission. Education has taught me that we are permitted and it is possible to be emancipated from our long-term abusers. No matter the outcome of the events unfolding in the UK courtroom, because of my education and because of what I have learned, I am free now. This is the power of education. So my studies at Athabasca University and my foray into distance education has changed everything. To anyone considering studies of this kind or altering their own life story, I say, jump in now. Transformation awaits. The technology exists to free us from the constraints of time and geography, as well as the barriers that we may perceive that we have. When I first got ill, I thought my life was over. And for many people with mast cell disease, chronic illness, various disabilities, it can feel this way. And I'm proof it's possible. I've developed lasting relationships, collegial, professional, and academic networks, which have opened up whole new communities for me. I've been published academically, and I am about to be again. I'm succeeding academically, and for the first time in my life, I feel like I'm really living, and I can still be of service to people. And what I know is this, that a school like Athabasca University can take someone like me with a heavily disrupted narrative, and through the catalyst that is distance education, it has the potential to create a powerful counter-narrative, which permits us then to forge out brave new endings. Thank you, all of you, for being here to share mine. Wow. You.
Thank you, everyone. To Veronica, thank you. Jason, thank you so very much for that incredible song. Caroline, AU members, Fiona's family and friends, and of course, the reason we are all here celebrating tonight, to Fiona Smith. Thank you, Fiona, for your wonderful and inspiring words just now. For those of you that I haven't had the pleasure of meeting, my name is Neil Facina. I'm the president of Athabasca University. And like Fiona, I have some speaking notes. It should be a short 45 minutes. You're still paying attention. But no, in all sincerity, I have the privilege of being able to talk about the power of education on a regular basis. And Fiona, after listening to your words, I'm going to say that I was slightly wrong. And what I mean by that is that the concept of inclusion in higher education isn't everywhere. The concept of actually creating barrier-free learning environments isn't everywhere. But ladies and gentlemen, the woman before you today is the absolute embodiment of the power of inclusion in higher education. And so for that, Fiona, I thank you, as well as for bringing your spirit, your positivity, your passion, and your determination, and above all, your unwavering resilience and grit to the community of Athabasca University. Not only do you exemplify the type of learner that I love to see learning at Athabasca University, but you embody the precise kind of character, that of integrity, of fortitude, perseverance. These are the virtues we admire so much in every last one of our learners. At the core of Athabasca University's mission is the removing of barriers that exist between people and their desire to learn and their personal learning goals. At AU, we believe strongly in inclusion, being there for everyone with a desire to learn. We're incredibly fortunate that you have chosen AU, that you continue to make us so incredibly proud. So Fiona, I and all of us at AU admire you and the determination and strength of you that you demonstrate, not just in your pursuit of your AU degree, but in how you have helped others and been an inspiring role model for the art of the possible. And shortly after the invitation was sent out for this event, we received a note from someone whose life you have touched. Leslie Cottle refers to herself as a fellow Mastro-mutant warrior and has said this: Fiona has shown us that anything is possible if you truly believe, and no one believes as strongly as Fiona. I'm not sure how many truly understand or appreciate how great her accomplishments are and how much it took to achieve them. She is downright awe-inspiring to watch. From everything that I've read and heard about you, Fiona, I have to agree with Leslie. And with everybody here tonight, those of us in the room, online, and those who have joined you at your home, for one reason, because they all, each and every one of them, feel the same way. We quite simply can't think of anyone more deserving of this award than you, Fiona. So again, congratulations. Way to go on being the recipient of today's most prestigious honor, the Athabasca University's 2018 Future Alumni Award. Well done, and thank you. And a special thanks for everyone here this evening who's joined us. And I want to wish everyone a great night, but before I do, I'd to ask Fiona's daughter, Esri Smith, to come join us up front. Esri is a songwriter and is going to perform a song for us to close off our event formally. So thank you, everyone. And Esri, come on up.
Okay. Oh, there we go. Ooh. Hi, everyone. I'm called Esri Smith, for most people. So essentially, I'm going to sing a song for my mom because she really likes this one. And I would not be singing in front of here today if it wasn't for her and her support. So this is called Honeybee by Z.A.V. If you look at my YouTube, you can watch me sing this all the time. A little self-promotion there. Also, can you guys hear this? Because I only have one mic. Okay. I am a honeybee, shunned out from the colony, and they won't let me in. So I left the hive, they took away all my stripes, broke off both my wings. So I'll find another tree and make the wind sing with the birds. They'll tell me secrets of the world. But my other honeybee, stuck where he doesn't wanna be. Oh, my darling honeybee, I will save you even if it means I'll have to face the queen. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba-da-bum. Ba-da-da-da-da-da-dum. So I've come prepared. My new friends say they would help me get my loved one back. They say it isn't right, the bees have control of your mind. I choose not to believe that. So we'll meet in the darkness of the night, and I promise I will be there on time. They'll be guided by my friends, the butterflies, bring us back to our own little hive. Oh, my darling honeybee, no longer stuck where he doesn't wanna be. Oh, my darling honeybee, I will save you, and now that you're with me, we can make our own honey. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba-da-bum. Ba-da-da-da-da-da-dum. I think she's crying. Yeah, there it is. I always do this to her.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do.
Yeah, you're welcome, Mom. I love making you cry.
Kid.
Okay, I do have one more song. This is a song I wrote about my mom when I was in grade 8, after she had an anaphylactic shock type thing. Put that down there. I was going through a tough time with this because I've been dealing with this for like 12 years, I think, now. But I turned it into something a little beautiful. So we're going to hope I can remember the words to this. This is a song I wrote. It's called Forgotten Bones. This is really going to make her cry. I used to fall asleep, knowing the things they said. The darkness began to creep. They fell inside my head. I tried to run away, but the darkness was there to stay. Take my old forgotten bones. Remember those words I said before she goes. Hold her close so that she doesn't get led astray into the darkness of the night. Hold her tight. Good night, my dear. I hope one day we'll be sitting out in early May. We'll be safe and sister said before she goes, hold her close so that she doesn't get led astray into the darkness of the night. Hold her tight. Don't bury me, don't bury me. It's so cold down here. Don't bury me, don't bury me. Soon you'll be here with me. Don't bury me, don't bury me. Here cold and dead we'll be. Take my old forgotten bones. Remember those words I said before she goes. Hold her close so that she doesn't get led astray into the darkness of the night. Hold her tight. Good night. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Esri. And Fiona, if you're tearing up, you're in good company with the room. So, ladies and gentlemen, that draws to a close the formal element of our evening tonight. I do want to welcome everyone to stay and enjoy the fellowship with all of the people that are here to support our well-deserving recipient, Fiona, for our 2018 Future Alumni Award. And on behalf of the entire university, thank you for celebrating with us for such a deserving person. And safe travels this evening. Please travel safe and responsible, but please stick around and enjoy.
That's cool. That was cool.
Unforgettable, that's what you are. Unforgettable, though near or far. Like a song of love that clings to me. How the thought of you does things to me. Never before has someone been more unforgettable in every way. that I am unforgettable too. On your mind, and when you look around, you'll find there's more than one voice singing in the darkness, joining with your one voice. Each and every note another octave, hands are joined in fears unlocked. It's only one started on its own, just one voice facing the unknown, and then that one voice would never be alone. It takes that one voice. It takes that one voice, just one voice, singing in the darkness. All it takes is one voice. Shout it out and let it ring. Just one voice. It takes that one voice, and everyone will volare, oh, cantare, oh, let's fly way up to the clouds, away from the maddening crowd. We can sing in the glow of a star that I know of, where lovers enjoy peace of mind. Let us leave the confusion and all this illusion behind. Just like birds of a feather, a rainbow together we'll find. Volare, oh, e cantare, oh. No wonder my happy heart sings. Your love has given me wings. Music, your song, because you know that it taught me right. Me dipinge con le mani la faccia. Poi d'improvviso tenido dal veretto rapido, e incominciavo a volare nel cielo infinito. Volare, oh, oh, e cantare, oh, oh, nel blu dipinto di blu. E che dici di stare lassù? E volavo, volavo felice con alte del sole, con coro più su. mentre molto pian piano spariva lontano laggiù. Una musica dolce suonare soltanto per me. Volare, oh, oh, e cantare, oh, oh. No wonder my happy heart sings. Your love is giving me Nelly Blue. Beneath the sky.
I know you can't see this, but my left ring fingernail is actually purple, and tons of people have been asking why. Did you know that 1 in 4 women and 1 in 7 men will be a victim of domestic violence in their lifetime? With statistics like these, you probably know someone who's been affected. Let's do something. My painted nail shows that I donated to end domestic violence through Safe Horizons Put the Nail in It campaign. Find out more at putthenailinit.org and help end violence in thousands of people's lives.
Those fingers in my hair that slide come hither stare, that strips my conscience bare, it's witchcraft. And I've got no defense for it
claims 1 million young lives every year. But for the first time in history, game-changing solutions are within our reach. Did you know that just $45 provides a full course of life-saving treatment to a malnourished child? Help save a child's life today. To donate to Action Against Hunger, please call 877-777-1420